What's going on? This is my second attempt. I I had a connection issue earlier. I want to talk about my first house. This is Broke Story, volume number 9. So this story starts off latter part of 2011. The reason why I was in the market, I was looking for a house. I was actually living in the back of my store. Definitely gonna talk about my business, my storefront that I had. I was actually looking for a place to fix up and just get out the back of my store. I was kind of like in between girlfriend at the time, my mom's house, and then ultimately I just was like, you know what, I'll just be in the back of my store. It actually wasn't that bad. All I had to do was go to the gym, take showers. It was pretty manageable. And I, pretty much was at my store most of the time, so I was able to make money doing that. And I was looking for a house, and one of the places that I normally look was a company there. They're kind of defunct at the moment. They're called Econo Homes, and Econo Homes used to have basically real estate all across the country. They used to do, I think, seller financing, but they changed up and they kind of sold off all of their inventory, and they only do private lending now. So at the time, I saw this house here on the market. It was actually $1. Um, Factually, it was over $1. It was about a little less than $1,000 after all of the fees and title transfers and all of that. So one of the things that I'm going to definitely talk about the mistakes that I made and what I learned from purchasing this real estate transaction is that first of all, the property was in um, an F grade neighborhood, and obviously the house was in F grade condition. It was in a part of South Chicago called the Wild Hundreds, primarily West Pullman, and it was just not really a good place you want to let your kids just hang out, you know, ideally. So it was a 5 bedroom, 2 bathroom house. It was pretty big. It's actually a multi-family house, and the house needed an estimated repairs of $50,000. Now, this is 2011 when I bought this house. I was broke beyond broke. I didn't even have a job. I was transitioning from my business to actually trying to get just back into just regular work and stuff. And I was broke. I was literally broke. Like those stairs right there. No cap, no shame. I remember sitting on those stairs actually crying because I had no idea where I was going to get this money from. I didn't know how to fix this house. I was in over my head. Okay. So basically, I had to go to court for this house. I had to go to housing court in Chicago area. So the first time that I went to court, it's kind of funny, man. It was like a whole bunch of mortgage companies. This property has so many mortgages on it, so many people attached to this house. I literally was in a line of people that were like mortgage companies, other parties that they had, attorneys there. They were like, "Man, Your Honor, this property, I we're no longer attached to this property. Please omit us from this list of this property as a property owner." I was only the person that attached my name to this property. I literally showed up in court, Your Honor, this is my property. And the judge, he basically said you have to You have to come back to court, and you have to board the property up. And basically, I did that. And then the second time I went to court, he said that you have to get a blueprint and show improvement. So um, the blueprint, I actually did contact the architect. Very intelligent guy. He gave me the estimate of 50K to repair the house. Um, and he said the blueprints would be about 3 grand. Okay, just for blue architectural blueprints. And he also said he could bulldoze this house and build a brand new ranch style 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom house for about 125,000. And that was 2011 prices. So, it's not that much money, if you can get a loan. I had bad credit back then. My credit was even worse. I had no money. And I didn't even have a job. Okay. So, long story short, the by the time the third time I went to back to court, I was supposed to go back to court. Um, I ended up getting a job, and I found a roofer. The roofer, and just to note, the property damage on this house is 75% fire damage. That whole upstairs going all the way to the first floor was burned. Someone, the backstory of this house was rented out by someone, and the people that were living here, they were getting evicted. So they just torched the place in angst of basically become being evicted. So the firemen had to put a hole in the roof to fight the fire. And basically the roofer said just to repair and rebuild the roof, it would be about $10,000. I was actually in the car with my ex-wife pulling up to the property. I had, this was 2012. I had started working. I was actually working downtown Chicago, uh, going to school for programming, and I had some money to put a down payment for the roofer to start. And I'll never forget, basically rolling up to the property. Um, I think this was about 2013 actually, and the property was nothing but dirt. All I saw was a pile of dirt. So basically, they ended up demolishing the property. I won't say that it's any like, it was the man or it was any racism or anything like that. The judge literally told me what I needed to do. He gave me about 2 years. City of Chicago gave me 2 years to fix this property up. Very fair. Um, the basics of it is they have there's other properties around here that are in good condition. This property was bringing down the property values of the other properties. It was an eyesore to look at. It's unfair to have properties like this around other properties that are in good condition. And as well as this, kind of a hazard to people because you got homeless people that might be living in here. Actually, it was a cat. It was a colony of cats that was living in the house, and they would basically eat the squirrels. So you had squirrel carcasses and cats coming in and out of the house, feeding on the squirrels that was from up the coming from this tree inside the house. So the thing is that the things that I learned from this house was one of the things that I learned is yes, you can buy a house cash. It was parts of the United States where at the time, just to note, just to give you a terminology, some real estate terminology. At the time, 2011, where I bought this property, the property that were um, for sale at that time in the Chicagoland area was wholesale prices. Just in case you don't know what wholesale price is, let me just talk about what's going on right now in real estate and all across the country. Today, the real estate prices are called it's called a seller's market, okay? Because basically it's a high demand and low inventory. So the market leans toward a direction of profitability towards the seller. Okay, so sellers make a lot of money in a seller's market, and buyer pay more money in a seller's market. That's what's going on right now, a seller's market. And before, basically it was a buyer's market. Now, buyer's market is in between. It's just basically there's quite a few pieces of real estate on the market. It's a fair fair to low demand. It's not that many uh, people actually trying to buy, and it's a lot of real estate inventory. That is called a buyer's market because a buyer, he has kind of his pick, and he can, or he or she can put their bid in for a property, and usually it'll get accepted because it's kind of a situation where the buyer has more of the leaning towards price and actually purchase, right? So that was what was going on before you have now, which was the seller's market. Well, after the 2008 market collapse, there was something that you know where pretty much you have people like Robert Kiyosaki. He dreams of like market collapse, because what happens after a real estate market collapse is traditionally what happened even in the Chicagoland area, where you have a wholesale market. Okay, I remember houses that were like brick houses, hardly anything wrong with them, C grade condition, that were going for like 15 to 18 thousand dollars. Some were even as low as $8,000 cash. The house that my mom lost in foreclosure, she had a mortgage for 150,000. Someone bought that property in foreclosure for about 50 $55,000, and the house next door sold for less than 50 as well. And this is in South Holland, Illinois, and it basically prices like that you can't even find nothing like that. You know, and that was what was going on back in that time, 2009, 2010, 2011. You can buy an entire two flat building for less than 50 grand. Many cases less than even 30 grand. Those buildings right now in this market are almost $200,000, if not over $200,000 in good condition. And in the condition that they were selling in 2011, were like 75,000, $50,000. So that was pretty much how I got this property for roughly $1,000, but on record it was I bought the house for $1. So the thing that I'll say is, once again, you could buy a house cash, depending on the market trends and the market rates. Depending on area, you could actually absolutely buy a house cash. The second thing, you don't have to. Another thing is, you don't have to pay 30 years to pay off a mortgage and stuff like that. You don't necessarily have to do that. You could buy a house. Certain risks involved as far as neighborhood and stuff like that, but you could buy a house and actually pay it off cash. The second thing that I have to say is that one of the things that I learned about purchasing this property is you should not buy a property that you don't know how to fix, one, and two, that you don't have the money to fix. You might be able to acquire the property, but you need the money also to rehab it. So this property, just to get the roof done, it would have cost about the upstairs and the roof would have been about 20 something $1,000. Most of the money that 50K of rehab work that was needed, reconstruction that was needed. would have been the upstairs and the roof. And the thing is that only person that could have fixed this house would be someone that's either a carpenter or a master carpenter, and even they would be in over, very much in over their head because you would have to attack that roof and repair that roof. You look at the area at the time, it really wasn't worth it as far as you look at the comps to even put money into the house. But the thing is that I was very much in over my head, and I did not have the money at least get the repairs done. Had I had at least $15,000 to at least get the roof fixed, I would have very much been able to save this house because once you repair the roof, you can work downwards and get all of the other stuff done. When you got rain coming in and all of the weather, snow and everything coming in, and animals, it's not conducive to have your property secure, and safe, as well as avoid all of the weather damage that is done. This roof would have basically needed at least 15,000 just to start. But that, like I said, is the second thing that I learned. The third thing is I learned a lot about housing terminologies from this purchase. The roof alone, you got roof joist, you got soffit fascia, you got underlayment, and of course the shingles and stuff like that. And it's like, man, I didn't know all of those terminologies before I purchased this house. I know all of those terminologies plus more. The education I got from purchasing this house is very valuable education. Okay. I guess the fourth thing I'll have to say is that you probably want to get a better house. Okay, this is what I'm learning from even now, and I'm struggling with. It's better to save more money to get a better house in a better location than to just go with whatever you have, unless you absolutely have to. In my situation, it was a situation where I needed to get something, and I needed to get something right away. And the house that I chose now is very much a reason why I chose it. Was I needed to get some property. Okay, life calls and you have to answer it. So the thing is that if you're in a situation where your living arrangements and you have a place to stay, it's best to save a little bit more money, because like I'm basically what I'm saying is, in my theory, is if I had to rewind the tapes, if I would have saved $5,000 to $10,000, the property I would have been able to buy would have been in a better condition than this house, and in probably most cases in a better location. Okay, so that's why I say you should save more money and get a better house if you can, and definitely better condition. So pretty much, like I say, this is my first house that I purchased in 2011. And I've been trying to get this video off for the longest, but I finally had to go to work and ship out something. So basically, you know this is better wireless connection. So anyways, hope you learned something from my mistakes. More broke stories are to come. And you have a good one.
Message.